Everybody, and welcome back to the ASUS North America YouTube channel. This is JJ once again, and I'm very excited to bring you guys an overview on the brand new ASUS G20, an ultra high performance small form factor gaming desktop. This is actually a very special project for us that we've been working on for over about a year in terms of the time that we've taken in terms of the overall design, development, and really kind of bringing this product to full fruition in terms of what the goal was, to be able to introduce a small form factor desktop that didn't compromise on its overall performance and really had a huge amount of features and functionality that complemented users that were really interested in getting into PC gaming or already PC gamers and that were looking for a small form factor desktop that offered the performance to really be able to enjoy the PC gaming experience as it should be. So as always, in this type of overview, we're going to be talking about a lot of different aspects, everything regarding some of the aspects of the overall design, the aesthetics, and of course the features and functionality, and a lot of the design details that we've gone ahead and put in to be able to allow the actual G20 to be able to offer you the performance and the actual aesthetic as well as the overall form factor that you see here in front of you. So first and foremost, we're going to go ahead and take a closer look at the overall aesthetics and the design of the G20 and see how it differs from what you would traditionally see in not only a standard desktop, but as well as what you would see in a small form factor desktop. Okay guys, so you can see first up we've got the G20 right here in front of me, and overall you can see that it's actually got a very compact profile. Now we're going to be definitely going into a lot of the specifications that the G20 offers. Of course it's going to have varying specifications depending on the model that you're interested in picking up, ranging from not only higher densities of memory to faster processors to higher performance GPUs. This model that we have here is actually spec'd out pretty high end in terms of being an i7 and featuring a GTX 760 Ti, and you can see that even though we've got these high end components inside the system, we overall still maintain a very, very small form factor footprint. Now you can see in terms of the overall profile and the look and feel of it, it's got a very different look than what you would traditionally see in a standard kind of, let's say, square oriented desktop chassis, whether you're talking about an ATX, micro ATX, or even a mini ITX based chassis. So it really has a lot of inspiration that we've brought over from the ROG products that exist in our system product group, where they have angled kind of lines. It's what we refer to as our kind of polygon-based geometry that we have that really kind of gives it an angular look and feel. Almost have a little bit kind of a spacecraft kind of look and feel, or jet fighter craft kind of look and feel. But going beyond that, you can also see that if we look closely here on the actual inseams of the overall chassis design, you can see that we also have a Myron pattern that really offers a kind of an additional deeper kind of technical feeling to the overall look and feel of the G20. But overall, this entire design and form fits its functionality as well. And we'll get a little bit closer into, of course, all the aspects of connectivity and how airflow works in this as we take a closer look at the way that the chassis works out. But overall, I think that you've got a really great aesthetic that is going to complement you guys that are looking for a high performance oriented desktop. That also gives you a degree of customization. There's actually 3 lighting zones that you're going to have here. So you've got one lighting zone here, a secondary lighting zone, and then there's actually a third accent lighting zone that's going to be towards the rear. So you have that flexibility being able to go ahead and adjust that through software that we're going to offer in the desktop, so you can go ahead and customize those LEDs to your liking. So overall, I think a really great aesthetic design to kick off what we're going to be talking about here with the G20. So let's go ahead and move beyond that and take a closer look at some of the key specifications that are going to be offered on the G20. Okay, so let's go ahead and quickly cover the specifications that we have for the G20. Now keep in mind that depending on where you purchase the G20 and depending on the price point, it will have different configurations available to, depending on not only the memory, but the CPU as well as other aspects of the components that are featured within the system. So we're just going to go ahead and break down to you what's going to be up to the maximum range that we be supported on the G20. First and foremost, of course, you have your CPU, and the fastest G20s will offer a Core i7. So that's going to offer you outstanding CPU performance for gaming, multitasking, general productivity, pretty much anything you want to be able to do on the system. When it comes to memory, the highest end model will come with 8 gigabytes of DDR3. Now there is a secondary DIMM slot that's going to be offered in the G20, where if you did want to be able to upgrade up to 16 gigabytes of memory, it's entirely possible, but keep in mind that if you open up the system, you are going to be voiding the warranty, but you do have the ability to get up to 16 gigabytes of memory. Now beyond that, when we go about core storage of the system, the unit will ship up to a 1 terabyte hybrid base SSD that will offer an actual 8 gigabyte cache on that SSD to be able to improve its post and boot up time and offer a little bit snappier Windows-based performance. And once again, you do have the ability to go ahead and upgrade on this system in terms of adding a different storage device, whether it's going to be replacing that primary 1 terabyte hard drive and adding a secondary 2.5-inch SSD or mechanical hard drive, or replacing both volumes with your drives. But once again, keep in mind that opening the system will be voiding your warranty. Now beyond that, in terms of the GPU, the fastest GPU that will be offered is the one that we actually have here in this system, which is a GTX 760 Ti, which is a great part for you guys that want to be able to go ahead and crank up the image quality and be able to have a high frame rate, high image quality experience at 1080p, and even actually be able to jump into quite a number of games at 2560 by 1440. Now when it comes to the overall connectivity that you would expect, all the core stuff is going to be there, such as USB 2, USB 3, Gigabit Ethernet. Actually, Gigabit Ethernet is going to be featuring an Intel LAN across all models, so you get a higher quality and better performing Intel network adapter. Now for wireless connectivity, all the units will also come with 802.11 AC dual band Wi-Fi. So you're going to get the fastest wireless standard that's currently out there. It's great in terms of its range, its throughput, low latency, great ping performance, and it also features Bluetooth. So that's a great option for you guys that want to be able to pair it up with different types of peripherals that utilize a Bluetooth connection. Now rounding it out, you're also going to have on all models, as you see right here on the front of the unit, an actual DVD combo drive. So that's going to be great for you guys that want to be able to burn CDs, burn DVDs, rip CDs, rip DVDs, and just to be able to have an actual optical drive for varied purposes, whether it's going to be for installation, backup, or copying. So that covers a couple of key specifications and the range of specifications that are going to be offered on the G20, and we'll go a little bit more into detail in terms of the total connectivity that's offered baseline on these units as we get to that portion of the overview. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and give you guys a little bit more information on kind of the total design here and kind of the ins and outs as far as the connectivity and how the system works and what can you expect to work with when you go ahead and get one of these G20s into your hands. So first and foremost, if we take a look here at the front of the G20, you're going to see that we've got this really nice accent lighting that's built in. So this is the ROG lighting. As I noted, there's 3 zones of lighting where you have 1, 2, and then a third over here on the rear that are all fully controllable via the ROG command software that you have within the operating system environment. Now here at the top, you've got the actual power button. It's gone ahead and been recessed in there, but it's very easy to go ahead and just depress, go ahead and turn your system on, or go ahead and press it again to allow your system to go in, let's say, standby or hibernation. Now in terms of the power efficiency that we have with this unit, it's actually quite extraordinary. What we've gone ahead and done is optimized utilizing Intel's Ready Mode technology along with some specialized design implementations that we have from both a hardware and software stage that allows us to achieve ultra-low idle power usage states, which has also been achieved by utilizing an external-based power supply as opposed to an internal-based power supply. This allows us to have significantly lower power consumption and much lower power draw at idle states. Now below here, of course, you can see that we've got an actual optical drive, and it's very easy in terms of being able to work with it. We can go ahead and depress that, and that will go ahead and allow the actual optical drive to eject, as you see right there, and you're good to go. And you can go ahead and depress it back in there. Now directly below that, you can see that you've got 2 front USB 3 ports. We've gone ahead and even colored them red though to keep the nice clean look and feel that this ROG desktop has in terms of that red and black aesthetic. Now those are both super speed ports, which is going to give you ultra fast transfer performance, and especially with this being a Windows 8.1 system, we have native UASP performance for USB 3, giving us ultra high speed fast storage performance. Now in terms of these ports, also this one is going to feature actually our AI Charger Plus technology, which means that we can go ahead and quick charge devices even when the system is actually powered off, and so that's going to be great for users out there that are utilizing smartphones, tablets, things along those lines where you want to be able to go ahead and quickly and easily plug in and be able to go ahead and have great charging performance. Now directly below that, we've got front headphone connection and front microphone connection, and this is actually connected to our advanced audio design that we feature on this system. Now this system features a Sonic Master audio design where we have carefully gone ahead and laid out the overall topology, and we've carefully tuned the codec and the overall design of the audio implementation to offer better signal-noise ratio performance and higher dB performance, along with a specially tuned application within the operating system that allow you to have some really great flexibility of being able to tune sound for your best experience, whether it's going to be in music, movies, or games. So that takes care of your front audio connectivity. So let's go ahead and take a closer look here at the top and see how the top actually has got a little bit more going on than actually just being the top of our chassis. So next up, guys, we're going to take a closer look here at the top of the chassis. Now you can see, of course, with the G20, we've got a really clean, stylized, tight aesthetic. Now what we've gone ahead and done to be able to go ahead and do this is done some really interesting layout implementations, and this definitely correlates to airflow. Now one of the things that we definitely wanted to keep in mind with the G20 was to be able to ensure reliable, cool, and quiet operation, which was quite challenging for the type of performance components that we put into the system. But what we're going to quickly show you here is actually a little bit about how the thermal design works. Now as you see, there's no traditional front intake airflow. Actually what we do have is we have an intake airflow that comes in from the bottom, and then we have an exhaust airflow that comes out through the top. There's actually 2 fans that are specifically for the CPU that use heat pipe-based performance conduction, and then of course we have a traditional blower type fan that goes over the GPU, and that helps to rear exhaust out. So that's how we're handling the overall airflow design. Now this little portion right here at the top actually is removable. I've just gone ahead and pried it very easily. It pulls off, and you can see right here up at the top, you can see a huge finned heatsink assembly. And that heatsink assembly that we have right there is actually connected to the whole fan and heatsink assembly, which of course, like I said, is being driven, and the overall thermal dissipation is being handled by two high-performance fans that are blower-based designs, and then also are connected to two high-performance heat pipes, which make connection with the CPU. The great thing though is that this easy access allows you to go ahead and be able to clean out this heat sink intermittently, so that you can go ahead and make sure to get the best long-term cooling performance, and also help to minimize those fans spinning up, so that you can overall maintain that very quiet footprint the G20 has, whether it's going to be at idle or whether that's going to be at load. Now, of course, in the center right here also there's some additional venting that we have, which helps to also aid in terms of the airflow design. So next up, let's go ahead and take a closer look at the back of the G20. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue on our little overall overview that we have here for our G20. And we can see here on the back that we've got a lot going on in terms of our core connectivity. So we have two USB 2 ports, we have two USB 3 ports. Directly below that we have an additional two USB 2 ports, and there we have our gigabit Intel Ethernet. Now, one of the great things also about the Intel gigabit Ethernet is that it does feature our Game First packet priority software. The great thing about this packet priority software is it's fully customizable, so that you can go ahead and tweak and tune it to be able to prioritize for games, for streaming-based applications, for downloading applications, or any network-centric service. And the other great feature about it is that it can be mapped to either the actual hardline controller, this Intel NIC, or the actual integrated 802.11ac dual band wireless that we have on the G20. Now, directly below that, we've got multi-channel line level audio output. So of course this is going to allow you to be able to go ahead and connect multi-channel speakers, or if you've got multi-channel headsets that feature multiple drivers, you're good to go and you're all set here. Now keep in mind that these connections, just like our front-facing connections, feature the Sonic Master audio design, which allows you to go ahead and have improved signal noise ratio, superior dB performance, and a wide range of customization that's available to you within the actual Sonic Master audio suite that you can go ahead and quickly and easily access from within the Windows operating system. Now directly below that we also have an HDMI port that's on here, and this would be for the integrated iGPU, so those Intel integrated graphics. But of course, this with being a gaming oriented desktop, we're really focusing on, of course, the connectivity that just going to be featured by the discrete graphics card that we have here. So here we have an actual ASUS reference GTX 760 Ti. Of course, it being reference design means that we have a blower-based design, so that helps to go ahead and exhaust the majority of the hot air outside of the chassis. And we've got a wide range of connectivity. In terms of connectivity, you've got DisplayPort, you've got HDMI, and dual DVI. So you can go ahead and drive as many as actually 3 monitors, even in surround-based configurations with a 4th as an accessory. You can go ahead and do 4K at 60 Hertz utilizing DisplayPort, and of course both HDMI and DisplayPort all feature the ability to carry not only high resolution based video signals, but also be able to transport multi-channel audio. So if you want to be able to go ahead and connect this directly to, let's say, a receiver or to a soundbar, you're good to go in terms of that regard. Now here you're going to see something that's interesting. Traditionally you would see, of course, your traditional power connection that you would have for a normal desktop. There's no traditional power cord connection because we utilize AC adapter plugs. One's going to be for the actual CPU and the other one is going to be for the graphics card. And those break out to an external based connection that you can go ahead and just plug in like you would traditionally do with any type of AC adapter. The great benefit of this, of course, is this allows us to keep the system a much more compact footprint, minimize on the overall sound that we're going to experience from the system, as the AC adapters are entirely silent. And we also have superior independent efficiency, as we have individual power being fed to not only the CPU, but then individual power being fed to the graphics card. So that wraps up the little bit of an overview that we have here in terms of all the ins and outs and some of the design choices that we've gone ahead and made here on the G20. But we're going to go ahead and take a closer look on some of the inside to be able to see how we've achieved what we've done here. Okay guys, so we've gone ahead and opened up the G20 here. Now keep in mind this does void your warranty, but we want to give you guys a little bit of a deeper look at the actual composition internally of the G20 to allow you to see kind of how we've stuffed everything in here. And as you can see right off the bat, everything looks really packed in there, but it looks really clean and elegantly done. So you can see right here, we've of course got the GTX 760, the blower base fan design, and as you can see, of course, it's laid in there and it would be able to exhaust outwards and we're good to go. Here you can see that we've got the two high performance based fans. These are very similar similar to the high performance fans that you would see, let's say, in like in a G series notebook. And of course here, of course, we have this ultra large heatsink assembly. Now there's a small piece of tape covering an additional portion of the heatsink assembly, but this whole heatsink assembly comes through all the way and connects to these actual fans. And then there's two large heat pipes that directly flow from the actual heatsink assembly underneath and then make direct contact with a plate that goes on top of the CPU. And that really helps to keep this CPU really effectively cooled even under full gaming load. And the great thing is because since we have independent actually thermal zones, one portion here that's handling actually for the CPU and then another portion here for the GPU, where I really help to ensure that we're having a great thermal balance and consistency even when the system's under full load from either the CPU or from the GPU or both occurring simultaneously. And we'll talk a bit more about some of the performance expectations in terms of numbers that we would see under load once we talk about some of the performance that we would see here with the G20. So that overall gives you a little bit of perspective on how the internal composition has been tackled here with the G20, but overall you can see that we've really utilized just about every single ounce of layout space that we have on this unit to be able to give you an extreme level of performance, but in a very small, compact form factor. And also, as you can see here, there's no internal power supply because, as we noted earlier, that's all being done externally through the use of AC adapters. Now for you guys that are out there that are interested in memory, as I noted, it does void your warranty, but if you did want to be able to go ahead and tackle in and upgrade the memory, there's these two screws right here, an additional screw, you would lift that up and then you would be able to access the open DIMM slot that would be there should you want to be able to go ahead and put a little bit more memory into your G20. So beyond that, let's go ahead and now take a closer look inside the operating system, take a look at some of the core applications that come with the G20 desktop. Okay guys, so we're here in the desktop, and what we've gone ahead and done is, first and foremost, if we go ahead and just take a look here, you can see this is Windows 8.1 for you guys that are wondering. This is what ships default on the systems. I personally am a big fan of Windows 8.1. You get better actually performance in terms of USB storage performance, better I/O performance, faster boot to your desktop environment, quicker resume and hibernation. Overall, in pretty much every single metric that matters, 8.1 is a superior operating system than previous generation operating systems. So I'm a huge fan of it, and also actually I really do like the live tile interface, especially when you take time to customize it. I think being able to have your persistent information is fantastic. As you can see here, this is just a very quick setup, but of course I've got my news. You can have your Twitter, your Facebook. I've got a lot of different actually online channels to go ahead and be able to quickly check out TV shows and content like that. Of course, Hulu, Netflix, VLC for being able to have easy access to media playback and a lot more. And that's all just inherent built into the OS. But of course, what we want to take a look at is some of the key applications that come with the G20. And so you can see first and foremost, we have the ASUS command software. So we have two different ways to be able to go ahead and take a look at this. One is going to be in this kind of icon fashion. Another one's going to be in a kind of grid or list fashion. And just to be able to give you a quick perspective on what comes included with the unit, you can see here there's actually a lot of different functionality that's included. So we've got everything from the AI charger, which is the ability to go ahead and be able to turn on the advanced charging functionality that the unit offers, specialized power management capabilities with the power management option here, where if you go ahead and click into this, you can see where we can go ahead and customize between power efficiency, high performance, when the system turns off, when the actual system hibernates, things along those lines. So a lot of flexibility you have tied in there. Family safety for you guys that are parents and you want to be able to go ahead and quickly and easily set up your system to be able to go ahead and have defined levels of operation in terms of time frames, days of the week, things like that. You can go ahead and do that, and that'll open up the Windows integrated parental control set. We have an integrated update monitor that allows you to go ahead and verify whether or not all the core applications, the drivers, as well as the BIOS is up to date. So that makes it much simpler. You don't have to worry about going to any support site. You can just go ahead and click a button and it goes ahead and checks all those aspects for you. You know, security is always a kind of a key aspect that a lot of times people forget about, and we've gone ahead and done some things to make this a little bit simpler for you. You've got integrated PC cleanup, which when you go ahead and click this, what it'll allow you to do is go ahead and clear out a lot of local files that normally you should be clearing out intermittently, but sometimes people aren't always familiar how to do this, such as cookies or internet history, temporary files, and things along those lines. So that's a nice touch there. And of course, you can access more information about the antivirus utility that you have on there. Now, this unit does come with a trial version of McAfee Internet Security, so you have that as being able to start off and make sure that you're protected from different things like Trojans, malware, viruses, and different types of infections that could be coming into your system. So moving into some of the performance aspects of what we have from the G20, we saw some really impressive performance overall in terms of the temperatures that we have for both the CPU and for the GPU. So we ran a lot of mixed mode usage, so everything from some general productivity that included general web browsing, email, some streaming of video, to, of course, gaming as a whole. And what we decided to do in terms of measuring is we measured at different instances into general productivity, as well as actually monitor the temperature under an extended period of time when we were gaming for periods of at least 1 hour, if not 2 hours, with consecutive gaming going on. So allowing the cooling solution to really heat up and be able to work under the highest level of load it would have consistently. And what we saw overall was for the CPU, of course, depending on the actual load, would really vary. You're going to be looking at anywhere from between, let's say, the mid 40s all the way up to maybe, let's say, close to about a little bit over 70 C in, let's say, the highest or the most demanding scenarios that you would have. In terms of the GPU, once again, also depends on what you're going to be doing with the GPU, but under the most demanding game type of scenario situations, we saw actually just about the same temperatures that you would see in a traditional ATX system, which is quite impressive. Overall, you were seeing generally between about your mid 60s for, let's say, less demanding games, so the most demanding games being somewhere between about your mid 70s to a little bit over about 80 C, about 82, 83 C in terms of those temperatures. But overall, some very solid temperature performance that we have for a very compact system. And really the key thing is as well overall is that we still had a very quiet level of operation, even from the fact that we've got so much performance going on in this small form factor system. We're able to go ahead and keep the acoustics at a pretty nominal footprint to be able to enjoy your actual experience, even if you have the system right next to you. Overall, it's going to be a quiet gaming experience or a quiet desktop experience. And also from a general usability experience, the great thing is that with the setup of the technology that we have is that we can fully have that discrete GPU entirely powered down. So unlike a traditional desktop, or even if you have a discrete graphics card, that discrete graphics card never entirely powers down. In our configuration, we can go ahead and leverage the integrated iGPU to not only reduce power consumption, but also reduce noise, because the actual internal graphics card will take over as opposed to the discrete graphics card always running. So in that way, we're also helping to provide you a quieter operating experience. Okay guys, so wrapping things up. We've talked a lot about this brand new G20 series desktop, but in a lot of ways you guys can see that this desktop really breaks the mold from what you would expect from a traditional desktop. It's a much smaller form factor. It consumes actually a very minimal amount of power, and has a really interesting level of flexibility in terms of its design aesthetic that allows you to customize it through our customizable software, and you have those 3 LED zones that you have available to you. Beyond that, of course, we have a great degree of flexibility in terms of the features and functionality and how they can be customized for enthusiasts out there to be able to go have a better gaming experience, whether it's going to be in your network connectivity or whether it's going to be when it comes to the sound experience. And of course, for you guys that are looking to get into the PC gaming space and have never actually jumped into the PC gaming space, it's a perfect actually system to be able to do this with. One, it gives you a great degree of performance and a small footprint with a quiet level of operation and with minimal power consumption. But at the same time, it doesn't compromise on the reason to jump into PC gaming, which is going to be for higher resolutions and higher levels of image quality. And especially with being able to leverage a lot of those GeForce technologies that we went ahead and talked about, giving you the ability to single click an actual application or a game and be able to optimize it for the performance so that you get a great balance between image quality and frame rate, is really a great option for you guys that aren't necessarily as knowledgeable when it comes to a lot of the different dynamics that come into PC gaming and their settings and how they correlate to performance. Now beyond that, of course, you still get a full high performance desktop that of course is going to give you a lot of flexibility, whether it's going to be for general productivity, web browsing, or general application usage. And so it's great that with this type of system you have the benefit of having both, but in that small form factor based design. Now we've talked about a lot of different aspects regarding the feature set, the functionality of the design, and a lot more. And as always, we're always interested in hearing your guys' feedback. So you can always feel free to definitely drop it here on the YouTube channel, and we'll do our best to go ahead and get back to you if we can in the comment section. As well as if you guys are looking for maybe a little bit more engagement or looking for more information, make sure to check out the PCDI website. That's pcdiy.asus.com. We'll actually have a bit more information on not only the G20, but also the upcoming GR8, which is even a smaller form factor ROG series desktop that you guys can find out more information about. So as always, if you guys enjoy the content, I thank you guys for checking it out. As always, please make sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share this out. It helps us to make sure that we keep bringing this content as consistently as possible to you guys. So with that, as always, take care, take it easy, and enjoy the rest of your day.